All right, Nick, we are live, actually live for the first time on Rockfin. Welcome to everybody on Rockfin. But Nick, we're live. How you doing today, sir?
What's good, CJ? This is going to be a great show. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you guys have not checked it out, make sure you guys check out the JB Font show that was yesterday, as we do upload every day. So it's always good to be here. We got a lot of great things to talk about. One of the first things I want to share, because I saw this earlier today, because CJ actually explained this concept quite a while ago, how we have a YouTube channel, and I'm leaning into the fact that I'm in media. That's just another role that I have in the movement. But we are activists that just so happen to have a YouTube channel. I was doing this before, and I still remember when I first started as a YouTuber. My friends were like, "Oh man, you just post video," and I was posting videos talking to people. And I have my own rant streams, and eventually turned to this. So we're activists, and we just happen to have a platform, and then we want to encourage more activists to get involved, and we want to help educate and spread revolutionary thought. Now, why am I bringing this up? So we have some people who stay in their air-conditioned studios. They just talk shit. They want to be critiques of activists. Meanwhile, I can't emphasize enough how proud of my boy Rome here. So I definitely want to get this a shout out at the beginning of this show. This is what Savvy, we all have something to say about. I'm proud of my boy Rome. Shout out to Rome Thrift Store and Community Garden on the way. So if you guys haven't known, this is an update from our revolutionary blackout brother Rome. This is why you probably haven't seen him on the show in a while. I've seen him hustling and grinding for this thrift store and community garden, putting real work in the community. I love some of the commentators because with the people who don't have to be named. Meanwhile, there's some people who buy porches with their money. And this is one last thing I want to get your reaction, CJ, and then we can move on to the topic. Imagine, actually, I should play the video. But imagine, I'm gonna turn the audio on, and I'm gonna get your reaction, CJ. Imagine
the video,
and imagine the work that Rome would do if he had the resources of someone like Hassan Piker or TYT. like once again, let's use the low ball number. If Rome had 200,000, if he had $200,000 per month, imagine the kind of work that he could put in. Can you imagine? So let's watch the video so you guys can get some more context, and I will get your reaction, CJ.
It's official. We have the property for the thrift store / community garden. Now, I want to show y'all how big this property line actually is that I have. I got all of this. Don't pay attention to that house. That house don't count. All of this. I don't have this house. And it stops right here. I think right here. Yep. We got 2 fucking blocks. Man. So I'm gonna do the damn thing. We're gonna flip this bitch the fuck out. I mean, I wanna grow everything that we can in this motherfucker, but whew, it was a bitch getting there, yo. I ain't gonna lie. I had to do a couple of favors, but we got it. I'm about to start back the fundraising for it pretty soon. Yep. And I don't even have to do the park thing anymore because there's a park right there. So I was going to do a fundraiser for a park and just put it here. But since it's already a park here, let's see. 2 birds, 1 stone. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful property.
Yeah, that's great, man.
That's insane. I want
That's
to
great.
give you guys reaction. I want to get CJ reaction, but I want you guys to realize that Rome is, what is he, 29, 30?
Yes, 30. I think he told me it was 30. Yeah.
CJ, what's your thoughts? But I want to share. This is the
I mean, amazing that a person who has no money is able to pull this off. This is street. This shows the power of literally putting your feet to the pavement, because that's what he does to get to this point. He began just walking, talking to people, and just putting your feet to the pavement. And this is, hard work pays off like this. So, but if he had the money of anyone, the things that he would be able to accomplish, look what you can accomplish with this, with nothing. So giving him a little money would just be out of this world.
Yeah, I had a great conversation with Caleb Maupin last Saturday, and he calls out the boutique left. He said, look at the resources that TYT, the Majority Report, like these giant progressive media institutions. Imagine what we would do with 100,000 subscribers. Why aren't they doing general price numbers? Why aren't they building community
right?
That is what being a communist looks like. Building community. Caleb also mentioned this. I love when he says this. Unlike what conservatives say about Marxists and socialists, how, oh my God, Marxists and socialists, they're lazy, they don't want to work. No, Marxists and socialists, we're builders. Right. We are builders. We want to change and produce society for the better. We want to build our communities. Capitalism extracts from communities. Marxism and socialism is about building communities. Rome, at 30 years old, is building a community with the help of the community that we built. Because if it wasn't for you guys donating for Tour for the Poor, it wasn't for my comrades donating to Rome helping this happen, this wouldn't be possible. This wouldn't be possible. And we're still a channel with less than 15,000 subscribers. Imagine what the good that we can do at 100K, 200K. That's what I'm saying. We have a fraction of a fund that a lot of these people have. So I can't stress enough. I'm proud of my boy Rome. Straight up, I'm proud of my boy Rome. So I want to start out with that today, because I also think I want to tie it into this, because this is what true leadership looks like. People ask me, why are you gonna support Nina Turner? The fuck? I am tired of the happy-go-lucky, toxic positivity that comes out of the progressives, and they want to prop up the Democratic Party. I said earlier, I want to see a leader like Rome. Get a leader like Rome run for local office in the third party. Then I'll be interested. But I'm tired of happy-go-lucky bullshit. Now, imagine if we had, throughout the course of our lifetime, leaders that was promoting the ideas that we were promoting on this show, that Rome is promoting as well. But instead, after they killed all our revolutionary leaders, we had our black leaders form the Black Congressional Caucus. Now you guys see, I think this is a good transition. I think you see where we're going with this. So we went from, as a community, being unapologetic Marxists, which I gotta find the form. I don't have it say. I'm gonna, maybe on my Saturday show, I'm gonna go through the I would call it the manifesto, for a lack of a better term, that the Black Panthers wrote, that explain why the African American community should embrace Marxist-Leninism, right? So this is stuff that our leaders have talked about for a very, very long time. Marx and Lenin did a great job educating on these ideas that indigenous people and Africans have lived for centuries. So at what point did, well, I know the answer to this question, but I'm asking rhetorically. At what point did people, our black community, was convinced that capitalism was the way out, was our savior, was the way to prosperity? Because that what happened. We went from promoting community, socialism, to class consciousness, and now we got the Black Congressional Caucus, who is a corrupt institution that is designed to funnel money using woke identity politics. That's what it is. So I'm gonna share the story. I'm gonna get CJ's reaction to this because this is what came out, and then we want to dive into the story as well. And I guess I'll open the article version. So we all know this guy, Jim Clyburn, one of the most corrupt Congress people. I explained in my op-ed in many live streams before, Black people had the worst health outcomes in the country. Why you guys think that is? He takes the most money in Big Pharma than anyone in Congress. Anyone. More than Nancy Pelosi. More than Kevin McCarthy. More than all the people you want to fearmonger. This is the guy. This is, there are people that had Trump derangement syndrome. I have a Jim Clyburn derangement syndrome. I admit it.
Me too.
But CJ, feel free to interrupt me anytime.
No, go on. Keep going.
But I admit it. Because Jim Clyburn has done immeasurable harm and damage to our community over the last 3 decades. Maybe I should write another op-ed just targeting. I did a broad stroke criticism of Black neoliberalism that we covered on our show before. Mm-hmm. But Jim Clyburn is so evil. Maxine Waters is so evil. It probably takes an individual op-ed to target how he sold out our community. So this is the latest. The Congressional Black Caucus Foundation has a new corporate mega donor. Amazon donated $1.7 million to the group last year as it faced allegations of illegal anti-union work. So we're gonna dive into the article. I actually would love to read a little bit more of this, but I want to get your initial reaction, CJ, before I continue on with this story.
Yeah, I think we're gonna be reading a lot of this because I have several sections that I have.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass it to you.
I've clipped out that I want to just kind of touch upon. But overall, man, this is. It's eye-opening, but it's not at all shocking to me. It's eye-opening, but it's not at all shocking. But the increase in funds, we'll dive into the actual numbers, but the increase in funds from 1 year, from 2 years ago to now, it's just astronomical. And if you have to ask the question, why this amount of money? Why this infusion in the amount of money that they're now receiving? And what is the purpose? So, we'll dive into that in the article, kind of covers that. But that's initially my reaction. I mean, I can't find that tweet. Maybe they deleted it, or maybe it was my old account. But it was a tweet that went viral where I said the Congressional Black Caucus is the largest collection of house Negroes on the planet, and I'm standing by that word because they are complete sellouts. Complete sellouts. And what they do, Nick, is they do these civil rights things on the side, Civil Rights Foundation, I'm feeding the poor, I'm doing that, as they do all these other terrible things. But I'll pass it back to you so we can dive into this article here.
So let's read some snippets of the article. But as we read the story, I want to explain to you guys that this is not anything new. This is not anything new. It doesn't make it any less egregious. Because when you look at anti-worker policies, who do you guys think anti-worker policies affects the most? When you look at the expansion of wealth initially for Black Americans before they start tanking it, it was due to union leadership, membership, that Black people benefit from unions. And then because unions were destroyed, that was a small part of the formula that tanked our wealth. If you was to ask me how Black wealth tanked since the 60s, I had to repeat it because just in case we got new audience members who don't know this, the racial income gap right now is worse than the height of the Jim Crow era in the 60s. But people still pretend we have progress.
We have progress.
That's a stat that people don't know about. And if you want to do analysis, I've done multiple on why that's the case. It will be a long formula. It will be a giant formula. You got F, X, B, and then
Nick.
Go ahead, CJ.
But when we're talking progress, if your oppressor is setting the terms for what is qualified as progress, what do you got to do? They're setting the terms. They're saying because you can buy a house and live semi-quasi near white people, that's progress. Because we can't full on hang you That's progress. You get what I'm saying? Like, this is progress to them, but in the hunt for real freedom, absolutely not. You know, a rose by the I don't know the saying, but it's like you just dressed it up a little more, put a little more makeup on it, but it's the same thing. And I'm gonna leave you with this and go back. I'm gonna leave you with this. Just is a free range chicken free on a range? You get what I'm saying? Don't confuse being a free range chicken with being free. Just saying.
Well said. So this is the article, and we can go through it. And I know you have some parts you may want to share, CJ. So just feel free to interrupt me and let me know how you want to go through this as well. Let me zoom this in a little bit. But I always like to read the first few paragraphs because they do a good job summing it up. E-commerce, web hosting, and media giant Amazon. If this is not, I guess it's not too much of a criticism because I can't expect anyone to be as radical as me. But if I was to write these stories, I would not lead like that. You see how the lead is hyping Amazon up? E-commerce, web hosting, and media giant. I would say union busting, labor exploiting, economy destroying, small business destroying, media giant Amazon. That's how I would lead. Okay, I'm picky though. That's how I would lead.
Right. That's just a small change. That's all. It's just small.
Yeah, so that's not a giant criticism of the author, but I can't expect anyone to be as leftist as me. But if I was writing any article about any of these giant corporations, I'd be like, yo, child slave enthusiast, labor market disruptor, Amazon.
I mean, at more accurate descriptions, it sounds like to me. Yeah, absolutely.
But Amazon donated $1.8 million to Congressional Black Caucus affiliate foundation and institute last year, of course. And I'm going to explain to you guys the functionality of what this actually does, right? But let's continue with this article. So they talking about how the money was donated to the Black Congressional Caucus. There's more information on that. The donations are a dramatic increase in Amazon's prior giving to Congressional Black Caucus groups. The company first began donating to Congressional Black Caucus affiliates in 2017 with a $25,000 donation to the institute. And I want you guys to know this institute, the Black Congressional Caucus Institute, which they use to train and groom upcoming Black leaders.
Black neocons, Black neoliberals.
It's a capitalist money front. It's a money laundering front of the highest order.
Pretty much.
We'll explain that here very soon. But let me continue this article here. So it increased donations in 2021 came as the company was fighting antitrust bills moving through the Congress. This corruption of the highest order. So
that was a section I wanted, but just look at that number there. Okay, so go. I mean, right there where you're at. So 732,500 in 2020. That's it. Look at the increase. That's almost $697,000 increase from 2019 to 2020 because Amazon knew what was coming up. They know they're treating people terrible, Nick. So they know when stuff is being filed. So they know when to increase their funds. They know who to give money to make sure they have the best outcome. And it's just, I mean, it's just absurd. But let me continue right there after the article. It says, according to its most recent annual report, CDC Foundation brought in $8.3 million in contributions and grants in 2020. Donors that have gave it more than 1 million. So these are companies that have given more than 1 million. Include Dow Chemical, Target, and Trust Financial. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll pass it back to you.
So
this is crazy. This is just terrible, Nick. It seems like the longer you read the article, the worse information you get. Like you start to man, these people are just awful people. But go ahead.
How many people are you gonna see hold the Black Congressional Caucus account? You don't see it. And honestly, to be fair to a lot of progressive media, it's hard because liberals use identity politics to prop up these class traders, these race traders. And if you're like a white leftist, white progressive, you can't call them out. They're like, "Oh, you're a racist." That's what they do. I see it all the time. He'll criticize Clyburn and, oh, you're just a white leftist, bro. You're just racist. So I think, honestly, it's upon us as black leftists, as black Marxists, whatever you want to call yourself, to call out the black capitalist class and the black celebrity class that continues to sell us out. So this Amazon story is far from new, because I want you guys to understand that Maxine Waters she funnels money from Wall Street and give it to Black Congressional Caucus members. You guys realize that, right? And the people pretend Maxine Waters is black hero because Trump hate her. Maxine Waters, once again, is one of the most corrupt people. Terrible. One of the most corrupt people in politics.
She's from the area of my hometown, and she's terrible. She's been terrible for decades. Terrible.
Emanuel Cleaver, the congressperson from Kansas City, terrible. Against any climate action, came out against Medicare for all. So when you guys they dangle these shiny toys in your face, well, you guys probably pay attention. But meanwhile, if you're actually serious activists, you actually see the people that are destroying our community. So why you guys are having these ridiculous culture wars about millionaires? The Amazon been paying politicians, they've been paying lawyers, and they've been fighting working class movements. Why do you think they dangling all these culture war issues rapid fire in your face to distract you from the class war, to distract from the Black Congressional Caucus waging war against the black community? So when I talked to Chris Smalls, I was on his show. Amazon wages war against their workers. And Chris Smalls explained, like, bro, if you're black and you're working under Amazon, they will crush you and you have no recourse. Meanwhile, the Black Congressional Caucus takes the money from Amazon. And I want to share this with you guys. Let me pull the story, because this is way more. This is not just a one-off thing. I can't emphasize this enough. I want to pull this story. This is an older article, but this explains the corruptions of the Black Congressional Caucus. So let me highlight this so I don't miss it. But this is the headline. Has the Congress? This is written in 2016. It only gotten worse, as you see. As you see, they take way more donations now. Way more donations now.
Right.
But as you see, and this started ever since, and this article explained ever since the inception of the Black Congressional Caucus, their role is to funnel corporate money. So here it is. The last three, let me make sure this is the right one. Here you go. All one step removed from the actual caucus. Sally often serves as a way to launder corporate contributions through the political system. So the Democrats will say stuff like, "Oh, I want to get corporate money out of politics," and a lot of dumbasses fall for it. They know how to exploit your loopholes. They use wokeism and they use the false identity politics as a way to launder money to corporations. Because the corporations, they'll say, "Oh, we're going to donate money to fight for anti-racist causes," and then they'll donate to Jim Clyburn, who fucking take money from Big Pharma. So I'm gonna go ahead and read it because I'm kind of burying it too much here. The CBC Foundation's pulled in $53 million in corporate money. But once again, Bernie won't call this out. Because if Bernie called this out, they're like, "Oh, Bernie, you're a racist. Bernie picking on the black people again." You guys see how they get away with it? And this is the crazy thing. This is why I said they have sold us out. Because, oh my God, corporations donating this money. Is this a good thing? You fucking Marxist, socialist MMA piece of shit. Little of that cash went to research or scholarships. The lion's share went to glitzy conventions. I'm going to explain what the glitzy conventions are meant for. Golf and casino junkets, and paying off foundations headquarters. So, Caesar, you got any reaction to this? Because there's so much to break down.
I do. There's
go off.
To your point about, I mean, I think we talked about this. It's nothing. One of the worst things I hate is a black person selling out shit. Like, that's one of the worst things that I hate. So let me bring that article back up. And I think I have it pretty zoomed in for everybody to kind of see. But this part right here, Amazon has also been donating to state level black caucuses. So they're getting them at the state level. According to a Crain's Chicago business report from February 2021, Amazon provided seed funding for the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. new Social Justice and Public Policy Institute. So basically, what would the Black Caucus do, legislative Black Caucus do in Illinois, because they received this money from Amazon to create this exactly what you're describing, Nick, the social justice program. They're taking this money and laundering it. This is a donation to them, but they have to act like they're donating to this institute that's doing some sort of work in the community. That's what they all say on all their websites. And now let's fast forward down here where they talk about Black employees and former employees of Amazon have spoken of racism in the company, telling reporters that their complaints of racial bias and microaggressions were dismissed by human resources with no action. So the Congressional Black Caucus, I mean, it's in your name that people are expecting you to advocate for Black people, but you're taking money from the people who are treating Black people like nothing. So, I mean, just that part, Nick, just really gets to me. But let me read on here. It says last year, Tech Journal recorded speaking to more than a dozen current and former employees who said Amazon failed to create an environment where Black employees felt welcome, and that Black Amazon employees face bias at work that harm their personal lives and careers. Black Caucus is taking money. Congressional Black Caucus is bought by these people. Amazon spent more than $20 million on federal lobbying in 2021, according to Open Secrets. I love that website. So pass it back to you, Nick. But it's just amazing to me. Treatment of Black, and then they're taking this money and just selling us down the river.
So these Black leaders have sold us out for a very long time. Jim Clyburn is reaching his end. So, and I am seeing the new generation already starting to take over. It's nonstop. It's nonstop. Jamal Bowman seems to be happy to join the ranks as well. He loves everybody in the Black Congressional Caucus. He constantly bootlicking these people, right? Stacey Abrams, like the Democratic machine, is pouring a ton of money into Stacey Abrams. Like, she's guaranteed to be the next Black congressional oligarch. And if you guys don't know, she took money from Michael Bloomberg.
Absolutely.
And she was a Michael Bloomberg Democrat. She was like, Michael Bloomberg is not that bad of a guy. That is what she was saying. And Michael Bloomberg known for from creating Stop and Frisk. And the Black Congressional Caucus constantly take money, and they constantly backing up the police state, despite the rhetoric. You guys see where I'm going here? You guys want to see how insidious the Black Congressional Caucus is and these Black leaders? Because now we got the new big guy on the scene. We got Eric Adams. I warned you guys. I remember when everyone, including me a little bit, was making fun of Andrew Yang during the New York mayor race. And Andrew Yang is garbage. He's an imperialist. He's a capitalist. There's a lot of problems there. But I remember during the election, I was like, I know it's fun to make fun of Andrew Yang. I know it's fun, guys. But we have a giant threat that is being backed up by corporate cash, that while Yang was free falling, he skyrocketed. And you can look up our own segment on formerly known as Fred Leftists. I talked about this. I was like, Andrew Yang is horrible, but Eric Adams is terrifying. Eric Adams is terrifying. Now he's the New York mayor. He's like the new up and comer. He's a former cop, and now and I'm gonna explain more about this guy. But look at this video. This explains everything. He's a Biden bro. The Black Congressional Caucus, like everyone else, sold us out to Jim Crow Joe. But this explains everything about Eric Adams' politics. I want to share this quick video with you guys.
It can come together and deal with this fight. We are on the same page. There is a reason they call me the Biden of book.
Man, that
is a reason they call me the Biden of Brooklyn.
I don't know, man. That guy, to me, he
Biden of
drips of coonery. He drips of coonery to me, that guy. And Nick, he's going to be the face of the police state. He's going to be the face in New York, at least.
Oh,
He's going to be the face of it. All the police brutality. How is it racist now? Because look you got a black mayor. How is it racist? The black mayor is the one who's behind all of these racist policies. And it's how can the black person be against it? And it's the same reason a white person. You are conditioned to believe this. Now, a police officer, certainly this person who's been in the police department for this long, of course, believes that overseers aren't bad. Of course, he believes that. Now, imagine him back in the days, Nick. He would be the slave catcher helper that's catching all the black people, find them hiding. He would be the one giving the white overseers all the high fives. He would be that person going above and beyond to get reward, to get some sort of reward for being the best overseer helper. That's the type of person Eric Adams is to me. And he's going to be the face of the police state in any brutality.
Oh, trust me, he has been. I was terrified. He was a former cop, and he ran in these black leaders, and this is a good set, and this is part of the next segment we're getting to. They serve as an instrument to uphold white supremacy in the police state.
Absolutely.
I quote, that is the only job of black mayors in this country. If you're one of the people that run for black mayors, go like, whoa, we got black leaders. We need black leaders, black faces in high places. No one sold out our community more than black mayors. And I'm going to explain this here very soon. And Eric Adams is the chief leader of this. And this came out last year. So when people talk about white supremacy, people keep pretending that it's the Republicans that are the face of white supremacy. Don't get it twisted. They are on the same side. You know how volleyball, they have some person that set, they have what is it called, a setter, then the other person come in and spike it in. That's the relationship between the two-party duopoly. You had either the Democrat or Republican, they would set up their institutional racism, then the Republican or Democrat, they would spike it in. Mm-hmm. So stop and frisk. Everyone knows that's an insanely institutionally racist policy that targeted black men and responsible for imprisoning many innocent black and people of color, right? This is not 4 years ago, not 3 years ago, not 2 years ago. This is Eric Adams while he was campaigning. He said, why we need stop and frisk policing. Yes, you have heard it right. Isn't he the second black New York mayor? I forgot. Like they want to celebrate. Oh my God, they're the first black New York mayor.
I think he's the first, or maybe in a decade, in a while. But
4 decades, right?
I haven't heard of one. Yeah, I haven't heard of one.
Yeah, but anyway, they're using that as a celebration of blackness. But you see how Eric Adams is complicit with upholding the police state? The worst possible policy. Even the shit libs and conservatives are like, oh my God, defund the police. You guys are too radical. Man. We should have reforms. We should reform stuff like get rid of stop and frisk. You see, even the fucking shit libs and conservatives even say, yeah, I think stop and frisk, that's too much. I hear them openly admit that. But Eric Adams was openly campaigning for this. And I covered this on my old show. So while I remember everyone was freaking about Andrew Yang, but he was the most dangerous person in that race. And he won because the establishment convinced everyone to pay attention to Andrew Yang. So we have in New York right now a pro stop and frisk mayor. A mayor that
with a black face. That's very key. With a black face.
Yeah, and he is unapologetically pro police state and pro giant police budgets. So despite this thing where Republicans are pretending that Democrats are like on our side on this issue, which is part of the propaganda we're about to break down here very soon, Eric Adams started out as a cop. He always been a cop. Joe Biden wants to fund the police more. He built the prison industrial complex. So the people who are saying, oh my God, the Democrats are going too far left to defund the police movement, these are the most deeply unserious people in politics by far. The Democratic Party is the party of the police state. I'm gonna show you guys this because there are a lot of people who get this twisted. They think, oh, we got to vote for Democrats to fight white supremacy. The same people who pretend that they know what critical race theory is, the same people who pretend they know what critical race theory is, they will vote for Joe Biden.
Yep.
So despite the hysteria, the whole idea of critical race theory talks about how racism is upheld by the institutions. There's no need to put blame on the individual person because the institutions that you support are racist. So if you're a little white boy named Jimmy, you don't have to feel bad. But if you prop up these systems, that's bad, right? So all the people who say they're anti-racist, they propped up the racist system by supporting Jim Crow Joe. So how can you say you're anti-racist if you support Joe Biden? That is the pro-critical race theory position. Now you notice how so many people get this wrong? Even the people on the right. People are like, oh my God, people on the right, like, we got to censor black authors. We got to crack down on the First Amendment because they make poor little Timmy feels bad. They teaching critical race theory. They teaching and demonizing Timmy over being a white boy. He should be guilty. That is not what critical race theory is. Critical race theory is telling Timmy that he has grown up and benefited from a system of oppression that
They don't want you doing
he's
that.
not individually responsible for, but he benefits from. And if you're complicit with that system, you got a lot of examining to do. But anyway, I'm going on another tangent. We didn't get to that very soon. Trust me, we didn't get on the hypocrisy a lot of right wingers have who pretend the Joe Rogan issue. This is such a giant issue, Joe Rogan, but they're silent about black authors being censored. They're silent about BDS crackdowns by the state. But I'm burying the future story we're gonna cover here soon. I want to show you guys this. So if you actually understand critical race theory, you will understand that propping the Democratic Party, which props up the institutions of racism that you guys describe in critical race theory, why would you support this party? So going by basic critical race theory, you guys are complicit with white supremacy by voting for the Democratic Party. Why do I say this? Because it's not the Republicans who take more from the police, it's the Democrats. This is the contribution from the evil police unions. Patrick Lee, look at number 2, Amy Klobuchar. With distance.
Wow.
And who was responsible for letting Derek Chauvin off? Despite
Amy Klobuchar.
But you guys telling me that Republicans are the problem?
Right.
CJ,
and where did you just have this recent incident happen? In her backyard? Was Amir, where was Amir? I thought he was killed also in the same area.
Yeah, it's all blue states. Like
what I'm just saying, like Amy Klobuchar, like look how much money she takes. Now you see why Chauvin gets off. Now you see what happened to George Floyd.
Now you see why the Democrats are funding the police more. I am seeing so many people repeat the stupid bullshit that Democrats are somehow anti-cop. This is the number one thing that I even see right-wing populists are saying. Right-wing populists who watch the show, I am making you uncomfortable because I see so many intellectual inconsistencies. And I even want to form coalitions with you guys to destroy the ruling class. But trust me, just because I'm forming a coalition with you to get healthcare does not mean I'm going to let you off on your stupid bullshit. And if you are willing to abandon the coalition to destroy the ruling class because I make you uncomfortable by calling you out on your bullshit, that means you're going to abandon us anyway. That's why I have to explain this shit to people. Right? So I want to dive into my next thing. I'm kind of burying this here, right? Because we are hit with nonstop propaganda and propaganda. And I have claimed, especially ever since the start of the Defund the Police movement, I have seen right-wing populists. I have seen the people who say they're like, oh, I want to form coalitions with leftists, but I see them like support the blue flag, the blue line stripe. I see the right-wing populists like Saiger. He does this all the time. He fearmongers over defund the police all the time. Right-wing populists do this all the time. So my question is, how can you be class conscious if you're supporting a giant police budget and giant police state that siphons wealth from the working class. So there are a lot of leftists that are going for back to Joe Rogan. And I did a video and I explained why I'm against his censorship. But a lot of you people are Joe Rogan was one of the people who was like, oh my God, defund the police. This is crazy. This is crazy. He's a millionaire, a white millionaire. That was like, oh my God, defund the police. This is crazy. And you guys wonder, I can't believe Nick doesn't like Joe Rogan. Because he's a class warrior, just like all of them. But that doesn't mean I support him being censored, by the way. I don't. But so all these people are complicit with pushing propaganda. All these people that pretend, oh my God, the Democrat Party, they're so far left, they're supporting the police state. And I'm going to give you guys some examples of this. Check this out. This is the propaganda that we are always hit with. Hold on, let me pull the other one up. And on my Saturday show, I did a good job. I was trying to explain how propaganda works and how they fearmonger against the defund the police movement. And despite all the rhetoric that comes from them, saying they always say, "Oh my God, the defund the police movement is failing," and they use the black mayors like Eric Adams. So I'm gonna share the story in a second. They used Eric Adams as an example of this, and this is the problem with electoral politics. They say, "Oh my God, you got this giant defund the police movement," but Eric Adams won being pro cop. That means the defund the police movement is dead. There's many articles that are being written that say, oh my God, the defund the police movement is dead because Democrats are running on giant police budgets and they're winning. That has nothing to do with the fact that the electoral politics have nothing to do with whether a movement is active on the ground or not. Right? Eric Adams winning in these rigged elections that capitalists control has nothing to do with the state of the defund the police movement. I have covered that despite the fact that defund the police started out at like negative 35 in approval when the George Floyd protest started, at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of last year, I got my years, at the beginning of last year when I covered this, the majority of independents and Democrats supported defund the police. So I had to show you things. I'm going to show you guys, this portion is showing you guys how they do propaganda. And since we just talked about the Black Congressional Caucus, I'm going to explain how they are complicit with this as well. Right? But before I go on, because I know I went for a while, I want to get, CJ, any thoughts before I move on?
No, I have thoughts on the thing that you're just about to bring up, so I'll hold off for my comment into this next thing.
Okay, so I'm gonna continue with my presentation. Just let me know. We'll just jump in anytime we have anything to say. For sure. Let me get my stories in order here. So we just went over how Democrats take the most money from the police. Black mayors like Eric Adams sold us out to the police state, and they're writing articles saying that black mayors are deciding to fund the police more, and this is a defeat of the defund the police movement. I see people saying this all the time. They're saying that because they were like, oh my God, crime is going up in this area, and the black mayors realized they made a mistake in supporting defund the police. But I'm like, bro, they didn't defund the police. The police got more funding, and the crime went up. And then they use the fact that the crime went up, and then the black mayors, because they're complicit with the propaganda, they go along with it. Because the police, they always do this. They said that, the crime went up, so we got to fund the police more. And then crime goes down. Oh my God, crime went down, so we got to fund the police more. Because it shows that if you fund the police more, we reduce crime. You see how they always win?
I'm
going to tell you guys this story. And I got a few stories I want to show you guys. I found a few more, CJ, that is based in the same line of thought. Check this out. Progressive DC bar owner stands by defund the police tweets after attempted armed robbery. This is the got you propaganda that you see all the time. Oh, this person support defund the police, but the criminals looted their car. All right, they had an armed robbery.
Right.
Okay, maybe, and this is me. Maybe this bar owner supports defunding the police because she knows that you're doing nothing to stop this armed robbery from happening. You dumb fuck.
Right.
So
I mean, it's so obvious, Nick, to me, Nick. It's so obvious to me, Nick, that they understand the problem with crime is economics, but they understand it without wanting to fix it. So what they do is you fill the neighborhoods with cops so people won't do the crime, but they're not fixing it. So in other words, looking at the neighborhood as boiling water, right? So if I lost the fucking analogy, Nick. So let me pass it back.
Let me continue, and then I'll just chime in when you
I lost the analogy.
So here's another example of them doing this. They will say, "Oh, there was a defund activist who was a victim of crime. This is why they're not to be taken seriously on this issue." And I'm like, every time you write these stories, you guys are proving that's right. Here's another one. I think I shared this on my old show. Another one in the same light. Come on. Defund, and see, this is always from right-wing sources. Like that, the other article was from Fox News. This one from New York Post. It said defund councilwoman targets Adam. Oh wait, this is not the. Hold up.
Defund councilwoman targets Adam.
That is not. Hold up, 1 second. I was trying to find the Cori Bush one. There's a story where they were trying to mock Cori Bush. Here it is.
About the defund the police.
Oh, sorry, I must have clicked the wrong link. My bad. Here's the right one. Here's the right one. See, this is what they always say. Still think defund the police and releasing criminals is a great idea? Cori Bush, uber liberal squad member, gets mercilessly trolled after her parked car gets shot up in St. Louis for a second time in 2 years. Okay, so did the cops stop that from happening? So it happened before. So you tell me that Cori Bush's car was shot up before, and then the cops didn't do anything to stop it from happening a second time? How is this a got you? Now this is another point I want to get to. So now we understand what they're doing with pushing this propaganda. That's one thing they do.
I think, Nick, but let me jump in here with one point because I kind of remember. So it kind of proves that they understand that they don't solve crime. So the reason increase cops because they just want you to occupy neighborhoods, right? So that people don't have the ability to do any crime. But it's not fixing the issue of why people are committing crime or wanting to commit crimes. Putting cops in neighborhoods is just kind of putting a lid on the boiling water. That's the analogy I was trying to say. The water is still boiling, if you get what I'm saying. Like the issues, the symptoms that causes crime is still there. Cops being in a neighborhood is just simply putting a lid on the problem. And this goes to white culture. Out of sight, out of mind. Like it doesn't exist as long as we don't see it. All the symptoms of all the things that's going on wrong in the hoods and the ghettos of the United States that we don't want to address, that causes these crimes, that are the influence of these crimes, we just put a lid so we don't talk about it. That's white culture. Sweep it under the rug, and they've been sweeping this issue under the rug for so long. Back to you, sir.
And this, me and CJ were talking about this a little bit off camera. Why do you guys think we do these segments almost every week? Almost all my Saturday live stream, I do at least one segment debunking propaganda. Where is the white left on this issue? Where's the left and the populist right on this issue? I am seeing the expansion of the national security state on all levels. Do you guys know the Capitol Police got surveillance powers because of January 6th hysteria? You know, they continue to give the CIA more power to have cyber warfare and attack financial institutions of the global South, which they have done in Venezuela and in Russia and Iran. All this stuff is going on, but you guys are loud as fuck about Joe Rogan. Right. You guys are extremely passionate about Joe Rogan, but the Democrats are funding the police more, and they are actively running on that in 2022, despite all the messaging that's coming out of the right wing. So I want to get to the main article that one story. I think I'm prepared.
But let me comment on that though, and like we were talking about this off camera, and it's because I believe it's because, like, white leftists, they are falling for the propaganda, Nick. They're falling for it as much as they understand that these cable entities, these newspapers do propaganda. There's certain things, the pandemic is one of them, that they still believe the propaganda. But when it comes to the police departments, policing, safety, that is still one, is so entrenched, Nick, into white culture fear is so entrenched into their culture of understanding other people. So they still are very susceptible to propaganda. You know what I mean? Put some black people running into a store, running out with some clothes. You know what I mean? I know you've seen the what is it, shock and grab robberies. They put that on Fox News to scare white people. Oh, look at the black people. They are running in there taking shit, right? That, you know, there's a couple of hundred of that happen in you know, over 50 states, and it's a big thing to white people. It's selling fear. Take a couple of like strange instances out of the normal instances, which these smash and grabs were. And another thing I want to say, and I think I don't know if I talked about this with you. Propaganda, a technique of propaganda, is using percentages, because you can say the crime rate is up 40%. If you had 2 crimes and now you have 3 or 4, guess what? That's a 40% increase. So part of propaganda is selling that there's a bigger problem by using percentages instead of using raw numbers. Because if they just came in and said, oh, we had 50 murders last year and now we have 63, that's an increase. But if you use the percentage, it sounds a lot worse. So I'll pass that back to you, Nick.
Yeah, and this is why we do these segments as Revolutionary Blackout Network, and this is why I want to start a Black Leftist Network, because there's so many of these issues that are ignored. And I'm gonna continue these stories, but I don't see if not only do I not see anybody else debunking propaganda like we do. I see people like Crystal Ball. I see people like Kyle Kalinske. I see these people repeat bullshit like, oh, I don't think we should defund the police. I think defund the police is a bad slogan. I see them do this shit. So I'm like, you guys believe in the propaganda. You guys are media critics, but you guys fall for literally the most basic Rubik propaganda. And throughout the course of this segment, I hope you guys see how stupid the propaganda is. So if we can see through the propaganda, why don't these people? And that's
they
why
can see they buy into that fear. They buy into that fear. But think about this, Nick. Think if the left media sphere were half black, how would defund the police be even viewed? How often would it be even talked about? We're being led by a media sphere, leftist media sphere, that's primarily led by white people. So what would the discourse be about defund the police? Just imagine. It would be a completely different left understanding about defund the police if we had other people talking about it. If we had people of color, with that, more people of color at these seats, at these tables, not even at the table, with the mic, with the ability, with the algorithms working for you. Like, it's just yeah, you get what I'm saying. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, that's why I have much love to my brother Awkward. He finally 10 demands with me because he's a white. I like fighting the police state every goddamn day. Every goddamn day, my boy Awkward fighting the police state. Meanwhile, you guys, a lot of people just love the culture war shit. They love the insignificant culture war shit, but they will never talk about the police state because they may scare their liberal fans. They may scare their conservative fans. I'm not about that shit. We are unapologetically black, and we're gonna speak truth to power. And speaking that against the police state make you uncomfortable, I promise you can't defend it. That's the only thing I'm gonna say. So I guess I should get back to the story because I kind of went off there. So there are a lot of people who are repeating a lot of stupid shit about defund police that we gotta come on this network every week to debunk because no one else is doing it. No one else is doing it. That's why I'm glad we're growing. That's why I'm gonna get to 15,000 subscribers before our 1-year anniversary in April. Because no one is covering black issues with a Marxist leftist, with a Marxist perspective like we are. It's either they covering just broad issues, and then when they see the fight against the police state, they don't cover it because they see it as black issues. They're like, oh, right, that is a black issue. No, the battle against the police state is a class issue. They are stealing our wealth via civil asset forfeiture. They are going after worker class movements. They're doing it in the worker convoy in Canada. Now, for the first time, right, where it's like, oh my God, the police are going after our movements. Like, you guys supported it when they went after us. But you guys are cool with that, right?
Right.
So
anyway, leftists have an understanding that race is a social construct. So essentially, if the concept of race is made up, wouldn't everything kind of fall under class? This is why we kind of say class and race is the same thing, because race is really just a category of class. So you have poverty, that's a class. You have poor people, that's a class, right? You have middle class, which is a fallacy, but middle class, that's a class. Black is just the name of this class, of our class. So there's just a lot of overlapping. And I remember I said this a year ago when I didn't have a lot of following, that Black people view class and race as one and the same. But back to you, Nick. I just wanted to include that part.
Yeah, I get attacked from both ridiculous factions. Like the class reductionists, they attack me. Then I get attacked by race reductionists who pretend everything about race. The people that pretend everything about class. And I'll let you guys know, I don't like both of you guys. I don't know why. Why do you guys separate the two as if they are not connected? Black people was sold out by socialist workers movements in the 40s and the 50s. So that is the reality of their class being tied to their race. There was a giant debate on whether they should include black issues in a socialist platform. A lot of you guys don't know about this, don't you? A lot of you guys love FDR, but don't know about this. Guess who won that debate at the end of the day? The white leftists who believe that black issues should not be centered in the workers' movement. When you see progressives like the Squad vote to give the police more money, then the police uses that force to steal money from our community with civil asset forfeiture and broken windows policing. That is an issue of class. So if you do not understand that, if you're not speaking out against this rampant police state, you are not as class conscious as you think you are. I see Glenn Greenwald, always mess his name up, no disrespect, but I see him always repeat right-wing culture war bullshit over defund the police. So if you think you're class conscious, if you think you're fighting the establishment by repeating their bullshit, you are not. You are not. So I'm going to get back to the main theme of this segment, on how the black leaders are complicit with funding the police state more. That's why we brought up Eric Adams. Eric Adams is the latest instrument of this. Stacey Adams is going to be just as bad.
Stacey Abrams.
Yeah, Stacey.
He said Adams.
Yeah, Adams.
Abrams. Yeah, Abrams.
So I'm gonna show you guys the role of the black mayors. Now, this is the main story that we wanted to show you guys. So this is propaganda. I think this released today or yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. I read this, and I'm like, bro, they are terrified. And I want to explain. I explained this on the stream before. They would not go this hard against defund the police movement if the defund the police movement was dead. They know, despite their rhetoric, they are saying the defund the police movement is dead. But you guys don't think they know the numbers that I covered? Do I need to show you the receipt again on how 55% of independents support the idea of moving police funding to social programs like healthcare and housing, which is quite literally what defund the police movement is? So they know they're losing. They know it. Despite the fact that they run stories about saying, oh, Eric Adams is an example of defund the police movement dying. Despite this article, they are writing these propaganda pieces because they know they're losing the battle of ideas. And CJ, I think I want to get you in here because I think I heard you about to say something. But think about it like this, because Medicare for All is an amazing popular program, right? Right? Do you guys remember when Medicare for All was introduced to public consciousness again when Bernie Sanders ran in 2015 and how it shot up in popularity? It shot up in popularity, right? The defund the police movement went from deeply unpopular to now vast majority of Democrats and vast majority of independents support it. And I'm going to show you guys the receipt.
You want to see these receipts? I've seen them before, but I want to see them.
They did exit polling after the election in 2020 when Joe Biden went against Trump. And I'm telling you guys, the reason why they did the exit polling, because they was planning on using the data to attack the movement. So they was about to ask people, do you support taking money from the police and putting it into social programs? And the establishment expected people to say, hell no. So then they asked people in the exit poll, and they're like, yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then no one reported on it. Except me. I reported on it multiple times on my show. I don't have a platform, so it didn't get out there. I didn't see it on TYT. I didn't see Cal talk about it. I didn't see Pac-Man. I didn't see nobody. I didn't see no of the white leftists talk about this shit. So I'm talking way too much before I actually go to the story.
But this is what I mean, Nick. This is what I mean. Why aren't they talking? Because it's not an issue that affects them. It's not. And it's, they still buy. Yeah, he explicitly said, and it's still white fear. I mean, it's like no matter, not no matter, but for some white people who have leftist
There it
beliefs
is.
and policies, they still buy into white black fear or fear of white or black people. They still buy into that because it's something that you're conditioned upon condition. Literally, you see it in everything from the news, from TV to media to magazines to people talking to Instagram to videos on like Instagram to you turn on to, you got the tattoo shows where black people, all of this stuff they're hearing. Then you turn on sports, black people are dominating NFL, they dominated. All of these things get in your head, right? You can't get that out just simply by telling yourself black people don't deserve that and this and that. You can't tell yourself that. So defunding the police, because think about this, Nick. How is it a bad idea to bring a social worker if you're dealing with kids? How is that a bad idea to you? What does that mean to not to defund them? So we're saying all of the stuff that doesn't require. Now I'm saying abolish totally, but I'm just saying in the context of this, all the stuff that doesn't require a violent response, which is literally 90-something% of the calls aren't armed robberies where they have to show up with guns. We're saying have a psychologist show up, have a social worker show up. That's what we're saying, do. Not to take care of the issue, but to have somebody who is better equipped for the issue. So if you're telling me you're against that and you're leftist, you're telling me you're still buying into propaganda and you're still buying into black people being any more violent than any other ethnicity. You're still buying into that because cops don't solve crimes. They don't solve crimes. They're not there before the crime it starts or occurs. So so what I'm saying, Nick, is there's no basis in them needing police for their own city. There's literally no reason for a rich white person to want more policing because it doesn't directly affect them unless they're afraid of something else.
And they admit
the police. Yes, go ahead, Nick.
I never used this talking point before, but you literally just triggered this in my head. If rich people believe cops protect people, right? I literally never thought about this till now. Holy shit. If the rich believe cops protect people, why do the rich hire private militias as security? So isn't it the fact that the rich hire private militias as security, isn't that a concession that they don't expect the police to protect them?
They do much.
I'm literally just working this. I want to ask the chat. Do you guys see what I'm saying? You know how, yes. Like, pick any billionaire, like Elon Musk. Mm-hmm. He probably has an army of security, right? But if the police protects him, why does he need an army of security? So isn't that a concession that the police do not protect people? And guess who cannot afford an army of security? The working class.
Right.
Damn, I gotta fucking explore that thought.
I think it's also a concession that they're admitting they want the police for the black people. It's not about having police to protect them in their neighborhoods. It's to have the police protect them, but keep the black people way over there. You get what I'm saying? So, and this is what I'm saying about some white leftists who are still not on board with defund the police. To me, I see it as reparations. To me, defund the police, I see it the same. Like, you need to be on board with defunding the police, with moving resources.
If you're not, you're not class conscious,
right? Yeah, you're not class conscious because you're still saying that this state that is brutalizing us can be reformed, and you're fine with this, with the brutalization of people as it's being reformed, in order to make you feel comfortable and safe. Even though the police aren't, like, none of this stuff happens in your neighborhood. You're just buying into the propaganda. Go ahead and check out these comments.
So I went to debunk the propaganda and tell you guys what they say. Because let's dive into this article. Because this article came out yesterday and it checked all the boxes. And I'm doing this because the propaganda has been so intense because the ruling class is afraid. I'm seeing these articles almost every day. So I want you guys to be trained so you can know how to debunk them in real time. I do it all the time for fun sometimes. Check this out. Look at this article because this shows how black mayors are also complicit with imposing white supremacy. So how Democrats went from defund to refund the police. Wait, pause. We are at the headline and we are immediately at propaganda mode.
Right away.
Red alert. Like, if you think the DPRK, if you think Russia, if you think China, if you think any of these countries are more propagandized than the United States, you are an example of why we're propagandized. Because there is no propaganda more intense than our shit. So we just explained how the Democrats never supported defund. So this is not Fox News, guys. This is NBC. This is NBC. They're spreading misinformation. They're spreading misinformation, saying that the Democrats supported defund the police when at no point did they ever did that. In fact, as one of the comments I put up on the screen earlier, Joe Biden actively said he wants to fund the police more than Donald Trump. So I bad Joe Rogan, but at the same time, if you're anti-Joe Rogan and you think he should be pulled over misinformation, we are at the headline, and this is already high-level, intense, purposeful misinformation. So as crime rates rise ahead of midterms, be afraid. Crime is going up. We're not doing anything to stop it. We got more money under Biden and Trump. We're not doing anything to stop it, but be afraid. Black mayors of the nation's largest cities, like Eric Adams, are leading the call to crack down on lawlessness. You guys see how this shit works? Every time the police needs a budget increase, they pretend the crime rate goes up. So I'm gonna explain here very soon, because I'm actually gonna show an old receipt I posted.
Right.
When they say this stuff, it doesn't even have to be true. They lie about this shit all the time.
Right.
I covered a story how Fox News ran propaganda, how there are DC politicians who supported defund the police who regretted after a slight. They were like, "Oh, there are crime rates that gone up in the DC area." And then when you look, they said it's literally the same. It didn't go up. Oh, they just lie. They openly lie about this shit. So
yeah,
I did not even get into the article yet. There's literally the headline and the subline, and I called out multiple lies. PJ, any thoughts? Because once again, not even into the article yet. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I do want to bring up this comment because this comment came up while you were going over that, and I don't know if it was specifically to that. But the African American Nationalist Party, Eric Adams, is allowing non-citizens to vote in New York City. I don't see that as a bad thing.
Yeah, who gives a fuck?
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
That's way too much investment in electoral politics for me. Someone, who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
who gives a fuck? So that's when right wing. I told you, right wing populists. You guys are not gonna like me because right wing populists, they use this culture war shit. Oh my god, illegals are voting in elections. I don't give a fuck. Why, as a black man, should I give a fuck about that? I'm more scared about you capitalists voting in an election. If anything, you got money.
That's true.
Like, I'm scared.
That's true.
I see some dude with a porch pulling up at the polls. I'm like, oh fuck, that's a capitalist.
Yeah.
Up with his vote.
Give me immigrants. I'd rather more immigrants than voting. Yeah, you're at the wrong place. Yeah, so
that's that's funny. Thank you for that.
I wanted to bring that up specifically because the organization. I looked up that organization. I couldn't.
They are ADOS, right? It seems like I told you I don't like ADOS because they anti-immigrant. We are pro reparations, and we have made the argument multiple times. But if you're anti-solidarity,
what do you say, ADOS? ADOS? What did you call them?
The ADOS people who are anti-immigrant. They are anti-solidarity.
ADOS. They are anti-immigrant. I see. This is like Nick. I'm not into. I don't even know anything about this.
Yeah, I don't want to put them in an umbrella because there are good people. But if you look at the leaders, when you look at the messaging that comes out, their message is that immigration is hurting the black workers. They're fucking morons, and I'm pushing back against that all day. And once again, I'm for reparations, but I am for the anti-solidarity bullshit. where they say, "Oh, we gotta only advocate for reparations for descendants of slaves in America." Like, bro, it was a Atlanta slave trade
Right.
that affected everyone. Do you know how many
Right.
black Brazilian slaves there was? See, this is
Right.
it. This is it right here. And then I'll tell you, the adults probably get upset with me, but I clashed with these people many times. And if you're
I've used that term. I didn't know they had that belief, or maybe some of them, because the ones that I've encountered, it hasn't been many. It might be 3 or 4 that have it like in their profile and stuff.
Let me give you an example. Because this happened on our show. Me and RJ interviewed Cato because he called out Jim Clyburn. A lot of you guys know this guy because he was just on Brown and Joy Gray's show. He is trying to challenge Jim Clyburn. But I don't like this dude because he's an anti-gay bigot who went after JB Font and RJ.
That's the one you told me. You told me the story. I didn't know
Adolf, and he is propped up by Adolf. The guy who's running against Jim Clyburn, quite literally, who was like, because RJ. Well, I don't want to dive too much in RJ personal, but he was saying that, oh, if you're black and you're looking at, and if you're gay, that's not. We don't want any part of you in our organization. Like, what the fuck? This is what these people are.
This is the guy This is the guy that's running.
Yeah, they will get mad. They will get. I don't want to put. I want to be careful. I don't want to talk about people's personal information. But they was getting mad at JB and a lot of gay people, gay black people, and they will get mad at people for having interracial relationships. Which, as we on this channel, we strongly speak out against this. I apologize, Savvy, if I'm saying too much, but Savvy's married to a white guy, so it's like, bro, I don't support this bullshit that you guys advocate for. And there's no one who's a stronger advocate of reparations than I am. But adults, they advocate for anti-solidarity. They are super anti-immigrant, and they blame immigrants for why black people are failing instead of the capitalist class, instead of the police state. I have Cato, the guy who's running against Jim Clyburn. I had him on my show, and he said he doesn't support defund the police. What the fuck? So you're pro-black, but you support the giant police state. And I didn't even have time to get to that because I was grilling him over his stance of being anti-immigrant. So yes, there'll be.
And it just came up in conversation. You didn't know that.
We had a great conversation because we was like, we like go after Jim Clyburn. Hell yeah, this is great. He was preaching about reparations. It was great. And then he started saying shit like, yeah, we shouldn't be supporting immigrants. We were like, wait, what? I don't support defund the police. I see what you guys say, but I don't support. Then we ran out of time. Like we only had an hour. Then I was grilling him over immigration for like 5. I was like, bro, that's a white supremacist contract. I was grilling him for a few minutes. But anyway, I'm getting to this because I'm explaining to you guys the people. Yeah. These adults, people who are anti-immigrant, that person earlier that was like, oh, Eric Adams, if you using immigrants to vote, why should I, as a black Marxist, and Marxists are supposed to be about global worker solidarity, why the fuck should I care? What would I care about that? But adults people do because they're anti-immigrant, they're anti-solidarity, and I asked multiple of these people to have conversations with me.
I'm just trying to get an understanding.
We getting a little bit too off topic.
Yeah, we're getting off topic. We'll do another episode on that because I do need to get an understanding. We need to talk about that. We do. So go ahead. Let's get back to the
let's get back to this because let's see. So we just barely got to the articles. Let's dive into this. It's so hilarious, and I want to train you guys because we're the only media space that are doing this. What other show is Debunking Propaganda? And I have seen this every day. Out of the news. I can find some more from you guys, right? Check this out. This is why I said we went through the title and the headline. I explained how this is all bullshit. It gets even more hilarious. It gets even more hilarious when you actually read the article. A young Democrat member of Congress declared that the defund the police movement is dead. You see what they're trying to do? A young Democrat member. This is not a Republican.
Right. They're telling you it's a young person and he's Democrat.
I told you
black
Democrat. Sorry, CJ, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and he's saying he's black. This is just propaganda. Like, dude, we barely into a couple of sentences.
It's gonna be hard to get through this article, man. It's gonna be because when you read news from NBC, this is why I do it because it's a case study. Every line is carefully written. Like everything they say has a purpose. So this is why I went on the large spill earlier in the stream because I explained to you why this concept of saying why the defund the police movement is dead is ridiculous. I just explained to you why that is. But you see, immediately, that's the first message that NBC wants to give. The Democrats, because they are the party of the police state, the first message they want to give, the defund the police movement is dead, despite the fact that most people believe in the concept of defund the police. Why do they say the defund the police movement is dying? Why do they say that, CJ? Why do they say? I know you guys are wondering that. They are saying the defund the police movement is dead, not because people are rejecting the idea. They're saying it because Black Democratic mayors from San Francisco, New York, Eric Adams, Chicago, Washington, D.C. are moving to increase police budgets to end the reign of the criminals. Pause. Do you guys see the problem with the Black leaders? You guys see why I was talking about that for a very long time? You see what their role in the system is? Their role is to be complicit with the police state and white supremacy and to cut the head off of activists. So now, because the corrupt mayors are funding the police more, they are using that as a way to say the movement is dead. Why would anyone use electoral politics as a way to gauge the lifespan of a movement? If you was going by that, the fucking civil rights movement, you like, if you was in the 50s, the civil rights movement is dead. Where are your representatives in Congress? The politicians don't support it. 1961, it's dead. Where the support? You guys see what they're doing? But CJ, I want to get your thoughts.
Let me give you just give you an analogy. So, Bernie's movement when he was running, it's pretty dead, or it's dying, or it's dead. Do you see mainstream media attacking it like it was when Bernie was running? The point I'm making is you seeing these media stories just because of the reason you're saying, because they know it's not dead. They're trying to convince people to kill it. It's dying, it's not dead. And like you said, Nick, these stories to me are telling me how afraid they are that this defund the police movement is not going away. And they gonna keep doing this, Nick, to where we're gonna get upset and we're gonna have some sort of conference, some defund the movement conference, and that really piss them off. Like, no, defund the movement is not over. It's not dead. And we're gonna bring it back, bring it back with different people. Bring on Alex Vitale. Like, he can really break down. Bring him on again. He can really break down what these increases. Last time we talked to him, I think it was me and you that talked to him. He talked about the propaganda around crime has increased. The propaganda around that in order to get more police funding. So we need to bring him back on to talk about that. That's funny that the story popped up because I was just thinking about bringing him back on to get an update.
That was a great
this
conversation. We definitely got to have it, especially with this new surge of police funding, because it's getting worse, and they're doing this because they know social upheaval is happening because capitalism is failing. So let's continue with the propaganda. We made it one paragraph in. Let's see what it says. As violent crime surges ahead of November midterms. See, be afraid. Be afraid. Shit. This is geared towards shit libs. I want you guys to understand that this is not Fox News. This is not Fox News. This is NBC that's writing this. I want you guys to understand this. So they want white shit libs to be afraid. So as violent crime surges, that the police are doing nothing to stop, despite their massive budgets, President Biden and Democratic Party are toughening their talk on crime. Once again, that's wrong because they're not toughening their talk because Biden has been consistent on this. This is probably the only issue you can say Joe Biden been consistent on. This is the only campaign promise that Joe Biden actually followed through on. He in the middle of a debate in front of millions of people, Joe Biden said he's gonna fund the police more. That's like the only campaign promise he kept. Mm-hmm. And then there was a comment earlier that was mocking the Black Lives Matter when they celebrated Biden's victory, and Black Lives Matter, and I called this out at the time, was dead silent. I live tweeted. I can show you guys, but I think you guys believe me. But I live tweeted at the time, like, wait, what did he just say? No one in the Black Lives Matter organization was calling this out. Then Biden won the election, and then Black Lives Matter was celebrating Joe Biden's victory. And I'm telling you guys, I try to get this movement a lot of benefit of the doubt over the years. I saw a lot of stupid, shady shit, but I'm gonna give it benefit of the doubt. Despite that, when they came out with that victory statement when Joe Biden won, that is when they officially died to me. That's when I cut all ties. I started defending them. They're dead to me now when they did that, because they revealed themselves to be a deeply unserious organization that was co-opted by the Democratic Party. And also, by the way, I'm gonna find the receipt soon. There are millions of dollars that are unaccounted for that are donated to Black Lives Matter. A lot of people were just gone, unaccounted for. So it was a grift. But anyway, sorry, I know.
What happened? I heard they got replaced by a lot of people, or the people who started it aren't there or something. But something happened to them, just like almost like every movement, especially black ones, they get co-opted. And I heard that this got co-opted by the Democrats, is what I've been hearing.
I'm gonna show the result. I want to share this. I just Googled it real quick. So I'm pissing off a lot of black liberals today. I'm pissing off ADOS, and I'm pissing off Black Lives Matter activists. But why do you guys think the state of black activism is weak right now? These people sold us out. They sold us out by getting us to vote for Jim Crow Joe, even though we started out as an abolitionist movement. I'm in Missouri. A lot of these motherfuckers was killed in St. Louis. They was killed because of the riots in St. Louis.
Meanwhile, do you have the approval? I know you're gonna keep continuing. Do you have approval ratings, like poll numbers for Defund the Police? Have you seen those? I know you talked about it.
I can pull up the one I covered. I need to find new.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to pull it up now, but I'm just wondering, because I actually, have never delved into details of that.
Let's share it. Let's share the numbers, because I think we're doing the segment. This is the Defund the Police live stream. So after I read this article, I'm gonna show you guys what I reported that no one else reported on, because they did exit polling on it, and then they forgot, and then they don't even ask no more. I did this story a long time. They used to ask people how they thought about defund the police, and they stopped doing that. You guys notice that? I have not been able to find numbers since the exit polling in 2020.
Okay, then the same thing. I've been searching. I'm like, where's Nick talking about? Because I can't find anything recent. I just been looking at recent numbers up. But go ahead. So right here.
Who's in charge of Black Lives Matter? Millions of dollars. So I've been seeing this. I've seen black activists calling this out. There's like $1 million accounting hole in Black Lives Matter. And now you have Black Lives Matter founders and leaders who have mansions, who have made a ton of money in throughout the course of this struggle. Sorry, they're dead to me, man. We need a whole new movement. Scrap Black Lives Matter. We need something. And I remember when the right wing was attacking Black Lives Matter, they were saying, "Oh my God, Black Lives Matter is a Marxist organization." And when they were saying that, I was like, "Hell yeah, we are a class conscious movement that is trying to destroy the police state." But then, like black liberals do, they were saying, "Oh, you Republicans, you're ridiculous, saying Black Lives Matter is a Marxist we are not a Marxist organization."
Yeah.
What are you doing? By saying that, you just rejected Fred Hampton. They was unapologetically Marxist. MLK was unapologetically anti-capitalist. Malcolm X was unapologetically anti-capitalist. So these are the things I've seen out of Black Lives Matter. I'm like, all right, I'm done. You're dead. Let's start a new one. It was a good idea when it started, but fuck, you guys are sold out. But I guess we go on tangents. That's what we do. But CJ, any last thoughts? I'm gonna get back on topic.
Yeah, I do want to show just this second.
Yeah, I'll find a tweet here. I'm gonna find
this one right here. Same sort of propaganda about. Look at this one, Nick. I don't know if you saw this one. This is from today. Democrats look to shake off defund the police. Right, and let me read this first part. Democrats are looking to shake off the defund police slogan. It's not a slogan, so already in the first sentence, moving to a more visibly proactive, moving to be more visibly proactive in addressing rising crime rates, even as Republicans seek to tie them back to the 2020 movement ahead of the. So rising crime rates are going up, as they say. They're telling us they're going up, right? And Democrats want to start saying, no, we're not for defund the police. We want to fund police even more than Republicans would fund the police. So I just think, Nick, there's more in this story.
I saw that one earlier. Like that was bad too.
But this is just.
You see how often they come out? Like they come out almost. I as a citizen journalist, I've been keeping my eye on this. There's like an anti-defund the police movement in a big outlet almost every day. Almost every few days, at least every few days, they're doing that.
And who controls that? And who and Democrats, it's almost like, are Democrats getting their corporate media partners to put all this out in print, to put all this, defund the movement is not this, defund the movement, defund the police. Like, they're looking to do this. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. And I'm like, we're like, the people who are actually down with defund the movement, we're like, what do you mean it's over? We're still here. I mean, like, Awkward is still working on shit every day. Like, come on.
As someone who read countless of these articles, they are trying to wish the defund the police movement away. You see all these articles, the defund the police movement is dead. The defund the police movement is dead. They are trying to wish it away. If you say something enough, people will start to believe it. You see them implement propaganda techniques all the time, and there is a coordinated push to cancel Joe Rogan. Everyone knows that.
Absolutely.
The whole thing that's going on is coordinated with Joe Rogan. The same thing that's happening to Joe Rogan right now has been going on against defund the police movement for the last 2 years.
Right. So but the problem they have, Nick, you know, their propaganda, and they, you know, the numbers start to slide. The problem, they keep killing people. They keep killing people, Nick. That's their problem. They can't stop killing people, Amir Locke. So what do you think? So you ask people now, what do you think of defunding? If you ask, you guarantee you're not going to find no poll now, Nick. You're not going to find no poll right now because. Go ahead.
I have this receipt. It's been a while since I covered it, so I'm actually doing a comprehensive coverage of this because I did a breakdown of this on my old YouTube channel, SocialistMMA. And now I don't think I did a breakdown on the channel, especially at least since we changed our name, right? So this is the segment. I explained earlier in this live stream how during the establishment was kind of cocky because they assumed the defund police movement would die because they're like, oh, there's no way you guys are gonna win people over. But we proved them wrong. So during exit polls, the polling companies, they push questions in order to serve the establishment, right? Like they will ask questions like, "Do you think Trump is guilty of Russiagate?" And then if 60% of voters say yes, they will then write a headline that says 60% of voters believe Donald Trump is a Putin puppet. They do these polls in order to craft a narrative. I want you guys to understand this. So during the 2020 election, they was doing exit polling, asking people about defund the police because this was during the year of the George Floyd protests. So their plan was to ask people about defund the police and then write stories saying, oh, see, black people reject defund the police. People reject defund the police. And as you guys can tell, it did not work out well for them. So another interesting thing, I'm going to see if I can find another story I report on. They came out with polls, and the polls did not show the results they wanted. So they twist the numbers, and they will say stuff like 1 out of 5 Americans don't support the defund the police movement. But then in the poll, if you read the poll, they will ask people, do you support the reallocation of police funding? Then the vast majority of people will support it. And then the poll question like, do you support Black Lives Matter? And then people say, no, we don't support that. So they don't support the way the Black Lives Matter and the liberals like marketed themselves, but they believe in the issue itself. So let me share this poll that no one reported on, which immediately destroys all propaganda. You see, I reported this last year, January 17th, 2020. I find it very funny that defund the police went from being massively unpopular to now majority of independents and Democrats support it, but nobody is talking about this. I told you guys months ago that defund the police will win the messaging war, which I said, because when it was unpopular, I was like, guys, don't worry about it. We're going to win at the end of the day, like all social movements do. Because when more people get more interaction with the police, as we continue to educate people, we will win people over. Because I know giant police budgets and our police system does not justify itself. So if you truly believe in a message like I do, I know we are going to win. I am actually shocked that we shift public consciousness as quick as we have. If you ask me during the George Floyd protests in the summer of 2020, how long it would take, I would have gave you like 5 to 10 years. I was like, yo, this is about to be like a 5 to 10 year project, but I think it's worth it. We flipped this shit in like under a year. What policy position have you seen go deeply negative to deeply positive in under a year? So here's the source. So this is the part of the article. This is what no one reported on this part ever. A majority of voters wants to reallocate funds from their local police budgets to crime prevention initiatives such as counseling, drug treatment, job training, and education, including 3 out of 4 Democrats and 55% of independents. 55% of independents are extreme far left radicals. You guys understand that they just describe everything that we wrote out in 10 demands in a nutshell here? So where did I get this information from? Let's go through the article, because this is openly available. This is where I got it. Did I close it? Hold on, let me share. This is the poll in which I got it. Voters in frontline swing districts support progressive policies. Look, this poll came after the election. They asked, this information has been readily available for at least 2 years now. Sorry, a year and a half now. A year now, sorry. But people still pretend defund the police is unpopular.
What's the date on there, Nick?
January. So the article was written in January 2021, but the exit polling was done after the election in November.
Yeah, January 20.
So it's been
all right. So just over a year. It's just been a year.
Yeah.
It's been 13 months
so just
now.
over a year. This knowledge has been publicly available. So I've been going crazy watching people like Crystal Ball and Kyle fearmonger saying defund the police is a bad slogan when defund the police did something that Medicare for all and cancel student loan debt didn't do.
Right.
Medicare for all. Go ahead.
What do they say? Defund the police. Defund the police. No, let me tell you. Defund the police is a bad slogan because it puts fear in white people. Is that essentially what it is? Is that what it is? Because they're going to tell you, "Oh, I don't understand." That's not it. It puts fear into white people. Go ahead.
I'm gonna explain their argument. I played the clip with my debate with Garland Nixon. I love Garland Nixon. We had a respectful debate because he is a Marxist who actually support ending the police state. He support ending the funds. But we had a debate on Side by Side channel because he said you don't like the slogan. He said you're one of the people that did not like the slogan. And during the debate, we had a very respectful conversation. I think it was very educational because it was none of the debate me bro bullshit. I'll share my side. He share my side. And when I hear people who say that defund the police is a bad slogan, they say, "Oh, it actually caused confusion. It actually caused people to be scared because they support your goal, but when they see defund, they think you guys are radicals with no plan." But my response to that is, the defund the police slogan is good because of that
very reason. For that very reason.
Shocking people is what you want as an activist. So when people see defund the police movement, oh, what? What does that mean? And then they start asking questions, right? That's what happened. People like, when you guys say defund the police, what do you mean? Countless people ask me this question. So by having a provocative ask as our slogan, we got people to ask questions instead of ignoring us. So if we had some bullshit slogan like hope and change, not me, us, like build back better. These are slogans. If we had these slogans, people would just ignore us. Right. But we force people to like defund the. What do you mean? That's a good thing. That's why these numbers switched, because people started asking questions.
Yeah, they act like they don't know what it means. I mean, you know what the word defund means, right? About. They know what they know what that shit. Now they may say in the beginning, when we first started using this, they may say, "Well, I didn't know that you're reallocating because that's not in the slogan." Okay, I get that. 2 years into this, you can't use that no more, Nick. You can't use that. I don't know what it is. Like you know where it is. You can't use it anymore. All the people who claim, "Oh, I didn't understand," you understand now.
Hey,
so
CJ,
what's the problem now?
Hey, CJ, and the same people that all of a sudden they lose their critical thinking skills when defund the police comes up because they try to confuse voters. The Republicans, you guys know what defund the education means. You guys know what that means. When it comes to defunding education, when it comes to defunding housing programs, scholarship, like when it comes to defunding social programs, all of a sudden you guys know exactly what we're talking about.
This is about white comfort. This is about white comfort. White people are not white America is not comfortable with defund the police because white America, this is what I absolutely believe. White America knows what is going on, what has been going on with black people or just indigenous people, marginalized people, but black people in particular. They know what's been going on. And they know that if they had the treatment that black people got, they would be upset and ready to fight. So it's out of a fear that if we don't have the cops, these motherfuckers gonna come after us for all the bad shit we did. And that's what I believe it means. And I'm just to prove my point, I think I played this last time. Somebody asked me to play this again. So I'm gonna play it now, but it speaks to this. And this is a Jane Elliott short clip, but let's play it. I played it last time, and for the person in the comments who asked for me to play it, here you go. It plays well, but I'll fit it in what I'm talking about after this.
If you, as a white person, would be happy to receive the same treatment that our black citizens do in this society, please stand. You didn't understand the directions. If you white folks want to be treated the way blacks are in this society, stand. Nobody's standing here. That says very plainly that you know what's happening. You know you don't want it for you. I want to know why you're so willing to accept it or to allow it to happen for us.
So I played that. I mean, I love the entire clip, but I played that to point out it's about fear, Nick. It's about fear of all these people who have been done wrong by a system that I benefit. And in fact, my benefit is because they're done wrong. We need to have the police here to make sure these motherfuckers don't uprise against us. And that's what I believe, because it's no reason for a rich white person to be for police funding. There's no reason for a conservative to be for police funding because you're not getting a good return on it. Right?
They call
because it's about fear. It's about fear of retribution, fear of revenge, fear of rising up through these conditions. We need the police to protect the white people here. And I think that's the fundamental reason why most white people can be propagandized easily into wanting to fund the police even after they see lots of black people getting killed in their house.
You want to go over the numbers?
In their house. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, so let's go. I want to go over the numbers real quick. Because this is very interesting, isn't it? Look at, because this is coming from the exit polling that no one ever talked about. And I'm gonna see if I can find some new polling. I'm gonna see if I can find an old tweet where I found another poll that was made after this that pretty much backed up our point. And then they try to skew the numbers. I'm gonna show you guys how they did that. But this is actually very interesting because this is part of the poll where they said, look here, I'm gonna read this part to you guys. Let me go up a little bit. Because remember the point of this poll was to show that voters are progressives. But that's the point of this article. They actually don't highlight the defund the police part. Because this is the part where they say most people support Medicare for all. Most people support investments in renewable energy. Most support here. Look at this one. Nearly 60% of voters, including 77% of Democrats, 56% independents, support creating police oversight commissions that give non-law enforcement officials power to review police actions. So I'm gonna explain to you guys why this is not a good reform. I did a segment on this before, but they actually have a police commission. I think it's in New Jersey. But when they installed this police commission, this police commission actually does a decent job highlighting police corruption. But these commissions have no power. So
right.
They're like, are we going to have this investigation? We had this report that showed that this cop was corrupt. This cop was racist. This cop was killing people. And then they was like, oh, yeah, that's cool. Thank you for the report. We might look into it. So these commissions don't have any teeth. Then I don't want to get too off track, but I want you guys to know that. But this is the one I highlight. This is the one I tweeted about. This is the one that showed that most Democrats and independents support defunding the police. Now let's get to this part, right? Here. Where did I just find it? Here. No, that's the oversight. Thinking of a city or town where you live, do you support or oppose it? All right, here's the defund the police question. Look how this is very interesting. Look at Republicans. This is actually higher than I thought. Look, 11 plus 21, that's 32. That's 1 out of 3 Republicans that either strongly support defund the police or somewhat support defund the police. I didn't know that.
That's a good amount for considering.
That's a great stat. Remember that. I didn't know that until now. Now that 1 out of 3 Republicans support or somewhat support defunding the police. You would never know that. You would never know that if you listen to mainstream media. And now, once again, here's the number for Democrats, and then the number for independents. And then I also broke down by race. A large number of black people, like 80%, support defund the police. Despite the narrative that black people are terrified. There's another narrative that the media repeats all the time that black people are terrified of the concept of defund the police, even though the polls always show that black people support it the most. So, any last thoughts, CJ? Because I want to talk about Mayor Locke. Because I think this connects.
No, because it's all connected. So we can get into Mayor Locke, absolutely.
So
no, I was just gonna say, just last sort of thoughts on that last part. You said is that again, polls, when they reporting on polls in this way, or they're reporting on not the polls, but reporting on this movement without inserting polls. You get what I'm saying? They're telling you defund the movement is dead. Do you have a poll that backs that up? They don't have polling to back. They're just telling you it's dead. It's more of a strategy to say it's dead. Democratic mayors and the Democratic establishment hit up all their PR people in corporate media and say, hey, put this shit out because we're going to have to increase funding in order to combat the narrative that from the GOP that crime rate is skyrocketing and we're not doing nothing about it. So yeah.
Sorry, CJ. I want to address this comment because this is the last one to address on this topic because I see people ask me this a lot because I think this is a teachable moment. Because I was on 10 Demands. I wrote a plan and a roadmap to abolition. I see people say, I don't support defund the police. I support abolishing the police. That's not how it works. Defund the police is a roadmap that leads to the abolition of the police.
Right.
So there's a narrative, and this is why I was trying to tell Garland, the narrative that a lot of people have. They say, oh, yeah, I know there's something that has to be done about the police state. But abolitionists, you guys don't have a plan. That's what they always said. You guys don't have a plan. Yes, we do. I literally co-founded 10 Demands, which lays out a plan on how we can get to police abolition. Defund the police is a tool we use to create the path to police abolition. So you cannot separate the two. I see people do that all the time, and you are misled. There are people that say, I don't support defund the police, I support police abolition. We are trying to accomplish the same goal. And I'm going to show you guys, tell you guys the plan here. The plan
it's not an either or. It's not an either or. Yeah.
So I'm going to explain to you guys in very short, because it actually take a very long time to explain the roadmap. So in a very short, quick segment, the plan from 10 Demands using the current structures that we have now is as an activist, you have to oppose all police budget proposals and support cutting the police budgets as much as you can every fiscal year. And then once you cut the budget as much as you politically can every fiscal year, you reallocate that to healthcare, education, housing, and other Marxist policies like giving people $1,000 checks, giving people healthcare. And the abolitionist theory goes this. And I truly believe this. And if you're an abolitionist, you truly should believe this because we believe in the goodness of people. If you provide housing, education, and a higher quality of life, and this has been shown in multiple societies, in multiple time periods, in multiple studies, that if you provide for people, crime will go down. So the first step is to try to defund the police the most you can every year so you can get people taken care of. So then throughout the process of doing this year by year, every year you reduce the police spending. You get more housing, you get more healthcare, you get more quality of life. The crime rates will go down naturally. So then as the crime rate goes down, then the little bit of police force that are left over, because people are like, oh, I don't think we should get rid of all the police. We should keep some police. All of a sudden, our crime rate has dropped. Our crime rate is almost non-existent because we have created a society where people are taken care of. Then we get to the next phase of abolition. The next phase of abolition is people looking at the rest of the police officers like, okay, we paying you guys a lot of money for nothing. There's not a lot of crime going on right now. People got health care. There's not looting going on. Why are we paying you guys? That's how the road to abolition works. You take care of people. You create a society where we won't even need a fascist police state in which we have it now. So to answer your question directly, I want to address Gene and Bill because they're friends of the show. That's where I stand. So you can't say you're for one or the other. It doesn't make sense. It's a path to and I'm gonna show you guys the website.
Right.
And we surely will move on.
Right. And just to piggyback off of your point, you were saying that shown in different societies. It's shown here. It's shown in Beverly Hills. They got food. They got healthcare. Guess what? They have a low crime rate. It's not race. Here, white supremacy tries to link race is the reason why and not economics. But what white supremacy refuses to analyze or to incorporate is that race and economics almost go hand in hand when we're talking about segregated community. They go hand in hand. So you can so saying that, oh, white people making it where white people are less prone to crime, not making that connection to economics. You get what I'm saying, Nick? So saying that Beverly Hills crime rate is low because of white people could be one way to look at it, but it's actually because of economics, because they're one and the same. You get what I'm saying? So in order to not appear racist, you just take out the word white and you're just making it seem like, oh, these lines are just because they're divided lines. These segregated lines of where we live are all based off of just economics. But economics is so in line with race. That's why they're almost synonymous. The overlapping is so great. That's the reason. So that you get the point that I'm making.
So I'm gonna quickly read because I'm gonna show this is the roadmap that we had in mind. So once again, we wrote about this in great detail. Awkward and Zoya, you guys know Zoya, friend in the show. I'm gonna have Awkward on here very soon. This is the road to abolition. We got this on our website, 10 for Justice. I really need people to read because I actually hear people talk about defund the police. I'm like, you guys have no idea how this shit works. But I'm like, you guys are allies, so I'm not gonna get mad at you guys. So this is the step. We are right here, right now. So we got Lomper. So acknowledge how deeply ingrained concept of crime and punishment are in our society, and how this was constructed during the Age of Reason and the rise of capitalism. The police, as we know it, has never existed in human history. This fascist police force is new, and that's the point. We want people to understand who think, oh my God, you guys want to get rid of police? You're radical. No, the radical position is having the fascist police force. That's new. That's new in human history. So anyway, the first step, education. Trying to get people to understand that. More education. So I'm not going to read all this for the sake of time, but this is literally where we are right now. Because there's so many people that have been propagandized, and like Fred had to say, you're not going to have any revolution without education. So I'm not gonna read this because maybe I'll do it another time. But we try and get
Nick, we're having a hard time with this is because the concept of defund the police is so anti or so opposite to white supremacy. White supremacy needs this police state in this instance, needs this police state, right? In order to keep that white supremacy, that class, in order to keep white supremacy in place is a better way of saying it. There's no way for both of them to exist, because white supremacy is saying crime is not because of opportunity, not because of food, not because you don't have a lack of food. That's what white supremacy says, Nick. So white supremacy says that it's your race. So these two are opposites, and that's the reason why I feel like they're so stuck on this term defund the police, because it's such an integral part to keeping white supremacy in place.
Well said. And now, with this said, we on the last story we covered today. I want to talk about Amir Locke. Just I don't know all the details of this story. I honestly don't read that much into him. I explained before why I don't. I'm already. These stories kind of serve as an education for a lot of people to help them get radicalized. I'm already there, but I'm here to explain to you guys the take that you guys should have after these stories, and why you're not anti-racist if you're propping up the police state like the Democratic Party and the Black Congressional Caucus are doing. And I take any opportunity to drag people to the left, to drag people to see my point of view. So I was calling out the hypocrisy that a lot of people who are they're super concerned over Joe Rogan, but they're not talking about critical race theory bans, right? They're not talking about BDS bans. Someone asked me out there, one of my friends, like, why are you doing this? I'm like, I'm doing this because I want to drag you guys to the left. That's my only goal. So if we can agree on a certain issue of anti-authoritarianism, I want to highlight why you got blind spots in other areas, so I can draw you to the left, and we can create social change. That's my theory of change and coalition building, which is why I am willing to work with people I disagree with. I want to work with people I disagree with. So if I'm forming a coalition for healthcare with you, but I disagree with your stance on defund the police, during our path to fight for healthcare, I'm going to let you know why you're wrong about the other issues. I want you guys to know that. There's no easy, just because we were forming a coalition on this one issue does not mean I'm going to let you off the hook. So if you're one of the right-wing populists who agree with me on mandates, if you're one of the 1 out of 3 Republicans that support shrinking the police budgets, why aren't you loud on this issue of Amir Locke? If you're one of the people like, I believe in the Second Amendment, which I explained last week is a joke. The Second Amendment does not exist, and the Amir Locke story explains exactly why. Now let's dive into it, right? So here's the story. This is 22-year-old Amir Locke. He was killed 2 days ago by Minneapolis police, Amy Klobuchar's backyard.
This is what I was saying to you earlier. Yeah, that Amy Klobuchar gets all this money, and this is the second killing here. This is what I was mentioning to you earlier. Yes.
I told you,
Amy Klobuchar.
I knew the story, but I didn't know all the details. So I'm glad you brought that up earlier. You broke the news to me, but now we confirm it here.
Yeah.
I guess I read it, but I must have forgot. But this is Democrats, guys. I'm not saying Republicans are better, but the Democrats are spearheading this. Republicans are just supporting them. I want you guys to understand that. So they were executed. They were executing a search warrant that he was not named in, entered without knocking, and claimed it was because he had a gun, which he legally owned.
Isn't that why you have a gun in your home? Is that so if an intruder breaks in your house, you can reach for it and save your life? Isn't that the entire that is the reason he has it?
A right-wing populist, right-wingers. I thought the reason why we had a Second Amendment was so we can defend ourselves against a tyrannical government. Do you guys see why the Second Amendment has never existed for Black people? I will argue it never existed, period, but you can 100% never, ever existed for Black people. Because I will argue, if you're one of the people that said we should have a Second Amendment, which I'm pro-gun, I'm a Marxist, I'm pro-gun, but the American Second Amendment is trash. It's trash. If you're one of the people that said we have the right to oppose tyranny, why can't this motherfucker pop the police that pop into his home like this without search warrant? This is tyranny. And this is what police always do to justify their killings of Black people, which I will never understand why white people do not. Once again, we know why, but why are they silent on this? They justify killing Black people over and over again because they have a gun. He had a gun on him. That's why we shot and killed him. How is having a gun a justified response for lethal force? We have a Second Amendment. There is no point in which someone has a gun that you know whether it's legal or illegal to have that. If a police can shoot someone, and this is why I explained in my tweet, my initial reaction when I saw this. I said, if the police can shoot you because you have a gun, and that's considered a justified response, then we do not have a Second Amendment. The same way we do not have the First Amendment, because it doesn't apply to Black authors. because they write about critical race theory and they get banned. It don't apply to BDS activists. But you guys are worried about Joe Rogan, though. The millionaire who's going to be okay at the end of the day.
Completely
But I just said that's always been
unserious.
the case. The Second Amendment only applied to white people. And I want to get your thoughts on this, CJ. And this is why I am going to continue to call out the right-wing populists who claim they're anti-authoritarian because they support, they don't support mandates. They claim that oh my God, Democrats are authoritarian. We're the NRA on this. This is an example, and I criticize Ryan Grimm a lot, but I don't give him props for him for highlighting this. You guys are loud as fuck about gun rights until the state. This is an example of the state quite literally. What's the best word to put it? Violating the Second Amendment rights of Murlock. They said, once again, they admitted it openly. Look at the tweet again. They claimed it was because he had a gun. How is that probable cause? You police state defending bootlickers. Explain to me, how is that probable cause? We have a Second Amendment, but as Grimm says, they never stand up for black gun owners. In fact, they actually were pushing gun control when the Black Panthers were doing public demonstrations with guns. And I watched your live stream you did, CJ. You were so on point. And this is why I'm gonna pass it to you. When you said we need to start getting armed, I am pro-gun.
Yes.
Do not believe the liberals that try to get us to disarm ourselves. There is no point the working class should disarm themselves before the police and military does. That is ridiculous. From now on, we need to pull up on every student demonstration armed. Armed. Fuck this liberal shit talking about we hate guns. We need to arm up. And we need to hold the right wingers to task. But CJ, what's your thoughts?
This is what I was saying. Like, I just had an idea. If I do these things. Oh, if I had a lot of money, I would do this, I would do that. And this was one of them. It's like just yesterday, and it was because of the mere thing. It's like we need to protect ourselves. Like, we need to start some sort of black, leftist gun owner, people of color, rifle organization, something. Because they have a Latin one or a Latino one. We need something because we have to begin to arm ourselves, get registered. That is very key. That is very key. But to answer to kind of piggyback or to address what you were saying, where are the conservatives? Where are, white supremacy trumps everything, Nick. When you say, if you believe this, why aren't you here, conservative? Second Amendment rights, because white supremacy trumps everything. So if you see their if you were a believer in the ideology that you say you do, you should feel this about defund the police. But guess what? White supremacy trumps that. Nothing trumps that. The fear of black people trumps the Constitution, Nick. The fear of black people trumps all of that. Man, this is terrible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So this is why our channel covers this. We did almost 2 hours just talking about the Democrats and how they complicit with the police state and the black mayors and how they're complicit with the police state as well. So I have no tolerance. You guys wonder why I don't like Joe Rogan? He was one of the people that fearmonger of defund the police. I saw one of those. I've been disrespect his podcast by then. But I saw a segment someone posted. He had one of his right wingers on. He was doing this. Oh my God, Democrats are so crazy for pushing defund the police. Class loyal. There is no tolerance, and I want all black people to have this, especially if you're a black Marxist. No tolerance for people who defend the police state. I became extremely. People ask why you always talk shit about the squad. The second the squad was complicit with funding the police state more, that's when they became my enemy. That's when it went from mild criticism to, I'm purposely telling people to not support you guys. I will make an enemy out of anyone who supports the police state. And that's the line in the sand we must draw. Not these stupid fucking line in the sand that you guys create over podcasters. Sam Cedar saying he don't care about the police being funded more. That should have ended all credibility that he had.
Right.
As someone who cares about people. Now, I'm going to share this last point, because I'm here to twist the knife in cop defenders. I want you guys to know exactly who you're defending. Why are there so many of these no-knock warrants? They killing our people and killing up. So I gotta use, you know what white people really care about? They see videos of like dogs like being abandoned by owners, And then there'd be videos. And I love these videos because I love animals. I see these videos. And these white people are like, oh my God, I saw this dog. He was homeless. He was starving. I took him in. I was just, my heart aches. My heart aches. Once again, I'm a dog lover who loves these videos. I watch these videos. I'm like, this is so good. But there's a part of me as a black activist that's like, bro, you guys care a lot about dogs, but you guys not doing it for black people? Then they'll see a homeless dog that's starving, and they will make a ton of sacrifice to take care of them, but you won't make a sacrifice for a homeless person? That's always weird to me. So that's weird, but I'm going to take advantage of that as someone who unapologetically advocates for pro-working class propaganda. So I want you guys to know, you want to see the people you guys are defending, since you guys love dogs so much. You guys know there's an epidemic of the police shooting and killing dogs. This is an article from 2020. Don't shoot the dogs. The growing epidemic of cops shooting family dogs. Since you guys don't care about black people, I guess I gotta start doing this. So you guys know this is my tweet thread talking about it, because this is when I was going off over the cops. And I guess I'll read the whole thread. I said, explain to liberals and conservatives that police don't stop or prevent crime. It's like talking to a child. So many Americans have been propagandized so hard they completely lost grasp on the reality. People think cops legit behave like depicted in Die Hard or Rush Hour. Like people think they see Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker, they see the lighthearted banner, they see them fighting off criminals, and they think cops are doing this for real. They legitimately believe this is how the police operate. They see Die Hard, it's like, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. They think cops are really trying to do this shit. So anyway, I say here cops don't do anything, and I was like, they are cowards who shoot and murder dogs en masse because they are trigger-happy punks. And I am embarrassed I live in a society that looks up to them. And this is why I post that link. You guys understand, they actually have an organization. This happens so much. Cops kill dogs so much because they're cowards. They have multiple organizations. This started in 1979. We read this site. So I'll get you right here, CJ.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
This site is a great resource, because I was reading this site like, God damn, I want to share this to everyone. This site is amazing critique of the police state. Perceived threat. Oh my God, it's a dog. The same way they see, oh my God, it's a person with a gun. They shoot. How can anyone defend this shit? But CJ, what's your thoughts?
No, I just think that you're pointing out something in humor, bringing up, white people care about dogs more than this is the propaganda. Just think about that. It had to have more compassion for a dog than another human. The level of conditioning you must have. Most white people, or the vast majority of white people, don't even interact with black people on a regular basis. So where are they getting these beliefs?
Hey, let me tell you,
where are they getting this? Go ahead.
I tell you, I'm a dog lover. I love watching these videos. But when I watch these videos, these motherfuckers sound like socialists. They are Marxists. They're like, we took this dog in, we fed him, we housed him, we gave him a nice bath, and he was so happy. And these videos are great because you see the dog, they're super depressed, and it's literally heart-wrenching shit when you get before and after. The dog depressed, and then they feed him, and the dog's so happy because he's getting fed. Why don't you guys apply this to humans? I be watching it as a dog lover, and I love the videos. But I see homeless people. Why don't you guys do that for them? You guys sound like socialists when it comes to animals, but when it comes to people, this homeless person, he deserves it. I don't get it. As a Marxist, I legitimately don't get it. As a dog lover and as a person, I don't get it. Right? So if you're one of white people that defend the police state, because one number I did not show you guys, that number, despite the 55% independents, 75% of Democrats, those numbers are dragged down by white people. So when I show you that Democrats support defund the police, that number is as high as it is because of Latinos and black people. White people, it will take me forever to find the receipt, but when you look at these polls, even among white Democrats, the numbers of them who support defund the police, I really do gotta find the number, but white Democrats, it's like 30%. Like it's like that Democrat number is carried by brown and black people. So that's why I said I really wish you guys, since you guys don't care about us, just know the police are killing people, dogs, en masse. So hopefully you guys care about that. But anyway, CJ, any last things you want to say? Because we about 2 hours. Anything you want to say before we wrap up? Because I think I think about having. Oh, I have.
Yeah, I'm looking for one last thing I want to share in just a second. Man, if I don't find it, it'll be all right. Yeah, if I don't find it,
I have. While you look for that, I have one quick statement I can do. Because I had another story, but I can make this one quick. I can make this one really quick. I tweeted about this as well. The Joe Rogan discourse is driving me crazy, guys. I'm gonna be honest. There are people who are pretending that this is like this battleground of free speech, and I guess this is the stream where we just call out a ton of hypocrisies. And for the record, I watched Joe Rogan Experience since the double digits. I explained this before, way before he was popular. I don't like Joe Rogan because his fearmonger or defund the police. I don't think he is as intellectually honest as you guys paint him out to be, because I've seen him make calculations throughout his career, like when he sold out the fighters to the UFC in the capitalist class. But I do not support the censorship of these people, of Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
But the people are saying, I see people say the reason why we care about this issue so much, and the reason why we're talking about Rogan, because if the government can censor Joe Rogan, that means nobody is safe. I see people say this all the time. If they can censor Joe Rogan, nobody is safe. Where the hell have you guys been for the entire life?
Yes.
So let me explain to you guys something real quick. So I already shared a story about the critical race theory author bannings, right? So you guys know that Abby Martin had a lawsuit? Like, this is not the principle of free speech, right? This is actually what the First Amendment is talking about, where you have the government cracking down on people's freedom of speech. The BDS crackdown that the right-wing Republican culture warriors support wholeheartedly. They are extremely pro-Israel. I've seen Don Jr. tweet out supporting Joe Rogan. They are extremely pro-Israel. And they are, and you guys understand, strong red states are passing laws there are Palestinian teachers that have been fired because they refuse to sign a pledge that say they won't criticize Israel or they won't support a BDS movement. That has been going on for years.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
You guys are now active over Joe Rogan, a millionaire who don't give a fuck about you, by the way. So I'm once again, I'm on your side on this issue. But even if I'm on your side, I am not going to let you guys off. Because if you're one of the many right-wingers who are for this culture war, but you're not talking about BDS. In fact, if you're for BDS, if you're supporting Youngkin in his bans of critical race theory, I am not going to let you live in peace. We're not going to have a peaceful coalition to fight against mandates. I'm going to constantly call you out for your bullshit until you get on our side. So this is Abby Martin. Once again, Georgia State Legislature has capitulated to Israel's demand to restrict free speech rights. This is the government cracking down on freedom of speech, not a multi-million corporation. This is the government. Where are you guys on this? This is Abby Martin. Once again, I talk about the Palestinian teachers who've been fired because they won't sign pledges. And also I have this to share. I don't want this segment to go too long, so I'm gonna rapid fire through it. Look at this. People are outraged about a comedian, but this is ignored. A new bill in Oklahoma proposes to charge teachers personally from their own personal resources $10,000 if they teach any biology that offends Christian moral principles. The right-wingers that you guys are forming coalition with in order to defend Joe Rogan are literally waging economic warfare on teachers who disagree with them. So there will be no peace in this movement. If we agree, which I do, that Joe Rogan shouldn't be censored, if we agree about mandates, while we shouldn't have, you're anti-mandate and you're on the right, throughout the course of this entire year, there will be no peace on this channel. Because I will keep calling you guys out, not only until I see you guys acknowledge this, but I want to see the same anger for this as you guys have for Joe Rogan. And I will not let up until I see that.
I spoke on this earlier today on my show, and I described it like this. I see the Joe Rogan saga. I see a lot of sagas like this, a lot of discourse on the left, a lot of discourse. This discourse is for and by the dominant culture, the white culture. So if you're not fearing police brutality, if you're not fearing, eviction, what kind of things do you talk about? You talk about stuff like Joe Rogan. You talk about stuff like brunch, because you can guarantee indigenous populations, indigenous groups, they're not talking about no Joe Rogan. They have a lot more important shit to talk about. So what our discourse reflects is who is doing the narration, who is coming up with this. Rich white people who have nothing else to talk about. But Joe Rogan, they have nothing else, Nick, to get so infumed about. That's why they get so infumed about Joe Rogan.
It's the
What
biggest
else are they
news
gonna
story
get?
ever to them.
Yeah, what else are they gonna get upset about? And that's and I said this earlier. This also goes with left media, is that the reason we don't talk about, I said this earlier, the reason we don't talk about defund the police more as a leftist movement is because all the top people at the top are white males mostly. They don't have an interest in defund the police. They're not going to talk about it. So it's the same sort of problem where, because you have all white people or all white faces, main voices, they're the ones that's coming up with the storylines, and none of the storylines ever substantially is about an issue that substantially affects us, improves our lives. It's never that they get upset about. You know, they get upset about Brooklyn Dad, somebody called him out. They get upset about Acosta. No, they get upset about Wolf Blitzer calling out Nancy Pelosi. Now it's fire him, and then it's fire the other guy, Chris Hayes, on MSNBC. It's never any real issue, Nick. It's never like, oh, somebody got shot. There's never issues like that they're screaming about. And that leads me to this last part. And I'm going to pass it back to you to sign off. I guess we're going to be signing off unless you had a couple of other things.
We have
but
a few super chats. We have a few super chats, then we can sign off. But
yeah, but this talks about what I just mentioned. And this is a video, Sister Soldier. It looks like I'm going to have to... Hang on a second. I'm going to pause it, make it bigger so you can see. But listen to this whole thing. She kind of... The part that I want you to focus on is a little bit later in it. So, but listen.
Excuse me. Senator Bradley of the all-white United States Senate said we can't get there unless we all go there together. Sorry, none of us are where he is. That's number one. Number two, you're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. Right. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe?
They got it for Joe Rogan, though.
So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. I want to see them.
Shout out to young Cornel West right there in that video. Just wanted to shout him out.
That clip is so on point, man. Because
but actually, I was just gonna stop it there, but I'll play it some more and let's see what else she says here.
It was not enough.
But that might be all we can get.
No. And guess what? I don't work with all I can get. What I work with is what I have. Listen, you have to have
young Dr. Cornel West trying to calm her
in
down.
The power of African people amongst ourselves to establish a foundation.
We have.
We have it. We have utter chaos in our cities, and you got to
no black institutions.
You can have a program. I'm not saying we've built a lot of institutions, and those institutions have not been effective. The majority of millions of African youth in this country are dying mentally, dying spiritually, dying emotionally, dying academically. And you may have a program, Mr. Brown may have a program, but what we got to talk about is an American government that tracks millions of African people who don't go to your program, don't go to Brown's program. Millions of African people, not only here, but all around the world. And if we are not honest enough to say who are our friends, who are our enemies, to know what a friend is, to know what an enemy is, we will constantly be trying to get into people's parties, to shake our butts with them, to get them to like us. And that's not the question. The question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future?
Mayor Kelly.
That's enough to
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. And that's essentially what we're talking about, Nick. We touched upon so many things that she just said in this video. That's what we're talking about. No more of this, no more of this teaming up with Democrats, the white leftists who are willing to sell us out to the police state. No more of that. No more saying we're going to be disarmed. We're registering black and brown people of color. No more of that. No more of, depending on your money. We need to depend on ourselves. We need to build this community separate from these people that are choosing to keep white supremacy in place, aka the police state, and vote for it, and then have the audacity to have Black Lives Matter in their profile.
Ridiculous.
That's all I got.
She's on fire there, but that clip is perfect for the time we live in right now, because as she said, where's the white outrage? Like, we just did almost a 2-hour live stream. Maybe out of the 2-hour live stream, maybe 90 minutes were done on how our police state enables white supremacy, the crimes of the police state. We debunked Defund the Police. But once again, we are like the only left black network out here. There's no other channels that are doing this shit. Like, we had to do a 90-minute live stream talking about Defund the Police, because not only are they not doing it, people like Cruse and Kyle Kalinske would join the side of the establishment fear-mongering over it. So we're the only channel that's going to cover this shit, and that's why we started Black Leftist Network, because even if there's an ally that's good on the issues, of racial issues, there are going to be blind spots. Like, they're going to be blind spots. So I was like, man, we're going to speak for ourselves, and I guess we have to be the leader on this issue, because there are a lot of people who don't understand that this is the biggest problem that we have right now, the expansion of the national security state and the police state that is in coordination with the capital. That's the largest problem that the left has right now. Whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Latino, doesn't matter where you act, how you organizing, the police state and the national security state is our biggest problem, and that is not your messages. You're stuck in time. But I want to get CJ last word, but I do want to say tomorrow I will have Blue Moon Red Wine on tomorrow for a Tuesday night stream. Should be fun. And then CJ always have a lot of great shows on Wednesday. But anyway, I hope you guys
I'll be here.
Last thoughts, CJ?
Yeah, no last thoughts on the topics. I think we covered them pretty well. But tomorrow I'll be here 3 p.m. for the new show. You left shit out. I'll be here tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a short show. I do like 60 minutes and just cover, all the topics real quick, all the main topics that leftists are talking about. So catch me tomorrow. And then Wednesday I'll be here again at 3, and then straight out of politics at a new time. I think it's going to be at 4 or 4:30 my time. That's 7 or 7:30 East Coast. So yeah, a few changes, doing some more content. We're just trying to provide more content for everybody, because there's just so much going on, so much stuff we could literally do 5-hour streams every day with all the stuff that's happening with this.
Like, if I had an unlimited amount of energy, we definitely
right, exactly.
I think more content is better. I think you guys enjoy more content. That's what we were trying to do, because we've been open. My goal has been to hit 15,000 subscribers by our 1-year anniversary, because we're still less than 1 year old. We launched last April, so we can hit 15K by April. That'd be dope. We look like we're on the path to do that. So keep sharing, keep letting your friends know about this channel, because the algorithm is not going to help us out. And in order to do that, we're going to provide more content. That's what we've been doing. If you guys want to support us, you can check us out on Patreon. We got a link in the description. Individual donations on Cashapp, on Venmo are welcomed as well. Any last words, CJ? But I got nothing else.
Nope, that's going to be it. I'll put up the ticker for as we go out. Thank you for joining us for the Nick and CJ show. See you next Monday.
I answer this real quick. Luna Oil should join that's the third Saturday, so that's February 19th. February 19th, the third Saturday of the month. Mark it down on your calendars.
February 19th, okay.
Been looking forward to this conversation. I'm going to talk to her about her perspective as a Vietnamese communist. So, yeah, so it'll be next Saturday,
Nick,
right?
Yeah,
so anyway.
That's when Rome will be out here in California with me. So absolutely, we'll check that out. So much going on that weekend. There's a Medicare for All, something going on too. So, all right. So we're signing off. Thank you for joining us. Rockfan viewers, thank you for joining us on Rockfan, our first stream on Rockfan, and we are signing off.